Um, and I told him, I'm going to see you again when you're 18. And all those people that stuck their nose in my business all that time and just, I seen it affecting him emotionally. And I know. I remember going to this non-denominational church. They didn't have any title, just a Christian church. And I remember a lot of nice people there. I remember a lot of adults being rather harsh and mean towards me, which later on I learned that my mom was a choir director. She was choir director for 40 years. And when adults had differences with her, it would result in them, kind of being absurd towards me. And that's kind of, well, that's what happened. I won't go into all that. It's funny stuff now that you look back. But as I listened to the preacher preach and never could really make sense of it because the stories never had a beginning, they never had an end, and they were all mixed in with fairy tales. So I asked a lot of questions as I was young growing up, and I got, I got checked in a lot, harshly for asking questions and raising my hands, and it didn't go well for me because what little I did understand, I'm understanding what you're teaching me, and then it doesn't line up with what you say and what you do. I don't see Merry Christmas in the Bible.
You started as a child?
Yeah, because I wanted more toys. I wanted to find it.
Yeah.
It said Merry Christmas in there. There's got to be some instructions to get more toys, get more stuff. We were poor. I want more stuff, not just for me, for my poor friends, for everybody. I'm going to save all the children.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this tooth fairy, we had the broke tooth fairy. You hear this stuff, but it's not in the Bible, but it's religion. What's religion? What's real? What's true? What's not? It's confusing.
So as a child, you was going to the Bible for answers. You had a sense of going to the Bible to see what was lining up.
Yeah, but it was difficult because I'm not going to say I was illiterate and I couldn't read, but I couldn't read. So I was matching up words and I was using people. I had a way of doing that to get you to read something to me but you didn't know that unless you really discovered,
But you just knew that whatever technique you were using, it just wasn't matching up. What they were saying and what you perceived was in that book or not in that book.
Right. I mean, at 9 years old, I could look up Mary. I could find out, okay, that's how you spell Mary. That's Christmas, and write it down, copy it off of something, and then just go through every page. I would literally turn through every page and mark where I left off at. Put the Bible under my bed and start all over. I was determined to find this. I mean, that was yeah.
So as you got older, did you continue going to church, in your high school days? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I played drums well. At 7 years old, I could play everything we play here. Maybe not as intricate, but I could hold it down. So it wasn't like I was some prodigy, but I was a good pull for the church because new families come in. Well, wow, look at the kid on drums. He must be saved.
You play, right? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So then when you went off to you did that most of your high school years?
High school, that happened too. And that's where I was moved on from grade to grade and kind of passed over because of my musical ability. I made the school look good on all levels. I mean, imagine parents coming to a PTA meeting. You got this kid up there, there's this prodigy again. And in band, I was never taught to read music. She worked with all the other students. And then when it was time to play, because I could play well, okay, now you chime in. and just do my own thing. So that went all the way through high school.
So you had a gift in music.
I know it's a gift now.
Yeah.
I didn't think so then.
That's just what I do. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to trade it for what other people had. Other people were smart. I wanted that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So after high school, where did you go from there? Did you go off to college? Did you work? What you do?
No, during when I was in what they call middle school, I was 14 years old in the 8th grade, and I had a life I don't think any other 14-year-old I know. I played in bars at night with grown people. And I went to school like every other, 14-year-old, hung out with my friends. But at a certain point every day, I had to go to band rehearsal. And I did that for some time. And then at age 18, I left high school and got on a tour bus with a group. You want me to name them?
Yeah.
The Hughes Corporation.
Okay.
They had already had gold records in the 70s, but they could still play nice places. And it was nice to have somebody setting up my drums, setting on a nice size stage, big PA system and all this. And it was nice for about a month. But I was out there for about a year doing that, maybe a little over a year.
Okay. Why you say it was good for a month, but what happened after?
Because then I found out that it was another dead end. It was an end to nothing. It was a road to nothing. I remember on the tour bus, and I thought, because I was young, everybody was 30 and above, I'm 18. And I thought, it must be something with this air conditioning because everybody's nose is snipping and running all the time. And we went and played Vegas for 6 months, and I thought, they need to go outside in this dry heat and get some of this air. Everybody's nose is running and sniffing all the time. And that was
What was it?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Yeah, that was my introduction to cocaine.
Wow. Just seeing the older people.
I never saw it done at that time. But yeah.
So what was life like? I mean, were you going to church at that time when you were traveling? Or you
At that time, I just traveled. It was really boring. Each city, I would visit music stores. Maybe I was always allowed to go to a movie by myself. Stay in hotels. Really had to stay in. I didn't get to party in the bars or nothing like that. I'd play, get off stage, go right back either to the dressing room or to the hotel room. And it just wasn't what I thought. When I start seeing the behind the scenes of the music business, it was really such a turnoff that I didn't know what my next move was going to be. And remember, at this point, I'm still not a good reader. I remember having a lot of money in a bank and this branch manager trying to convince me to get an ATM card, but I didn't want to tell her I can't read all that stuff. So I said, no, I don't trust that. I was playing it off, But then I became infatuated, and I look back now and I know who taught me how to read, who took me through that. I can read anything, pick something out, read now. And that was it. Next thing I know, from that point on, I'm rolling. I can do anything in life I want now, but I don't know what I want because what I thought I wanted is empty. It's nothing there. It's void.
What did you think you wanted?
I didn't think I wanted to be a star, but I wanted to play music with a famous band. I didn't want to be an athlete. I like playing sports, but I didn't want to play professionally. I didn't have a knack for that at all. That talent for that at all. I mean, I could look good going down the court. I knew how to do that. But I wanted to play in a popular band and just a successful band. And just live happily ever after, because that's what I've seen. You look on television and they make it look so good, so appealing.
Now, you told me that you used to perform in churches.
Yeah, I played a lot. I played a lot in church growing up. And after coming back.
How did you perform in churches?
My mom, choir director, 40 years, they was always there, And then from playing at church, people would visit the church or people would know about this young drummer. So I got a lot of studio work out of that, played with a lot of different people who, at that time, the music wasn't my young people music, but these were always older people who couldn't let go of the mic. They couldn't give it up. So I would always get work doing that. So
now I remember you were saying something about even when you started going to churches, like, I don't know if it was a mega church, but whatever church you were going to,
yes, sir.
They had like the inn, the top entourage. Tell me about that. You were just talking about how you got behind the scenes even in church.
Okay. The first mega church that I played at is in Columbus, Ohio. I call it mega. I don't know if it's mega. It's about 5,000 people, I think, 3,000 to 5,000, something like that. And everybody thinks they know you because you're on stage and they see you all the time, and they hear a pastor or an elder call your name over at microphone, so everybody knows your name. Now they think they know you. And you can probably identify with that. So when I came back off the road, I got married to a young lady I knew in high school. And when I knew the marriage was over, she became pregnant. And to be honest, I never was interested in the marriage. She was just very attractive. And so we have this child, and I'm going to make it work. And all these Christian people, when the marriage was ending, all these Christians from that mega church and assistant pastors and the pastor himself, who really didn't know me, stuck their nose in my business. I gave up a nail salon, a hair salon, a clothing boutique. These were all businesses that we started. All I want to do was see my child. So I signed all that stuff away. We had a condominium. We had a nice home. I signed it all away in hopes to make it clear that my agenda is just to be a part of my child's life. You know what I grew up like without a dad. And I had this whole people I didn't know against me. I still don't know why these people came out against me. Brother, I would go to pick my child up. I took the bare minimum in visitation just to keep the peace. And I figured later on we'll go back and we'll make things work. And even the pastor himself told me, you're unevenly yoked. And I'm thinking, you ain't never had a damn conversation. What do you know about me? So these people stuck their nose in my business. There were several
times going on at the churches. The churches.
Believing her. And so I figured whatever it is you want, I'm signing everything. So what else could you want that you can't have? And I think she just wanted to destroy me. I don't know, just hatred, just meanness. Just she could. I tell you honestly what her mom told me. Her mom said, my daughter hates you because we're talking about a supermodel looking woman. You are the only man to ever tell her to kiss your ass. And she never took it well. No. So during this time, this visitation, I want to talk about the destruction of this Christian church and what they did to my life. The divorce is final. I've signed over 3 businesses, a condo and a house, a home, just to, I don't want any of that stuff. I just want to be a part of my son's life. I want to guide him through this world and let him know I don't want the homosexuals to get him. I don't want the thieves, the criminals, the gangs to get him. I can guide him through this because I made it. I don't want these fake ass preachers to get him either. So during this time, she got the support of the church. I'm demonized. So it became apparent to me that, playing drums, continuing to play drums here, because there was weeks, it was my visitation. So now he goes to church with me. She still goes to that same church. And just seeing him suffer when he's with me. It was mommy, me. And the difference was night and day in how the people were. And having them stick their nose in my business. I would go literally to pick my son up for my visitation. And this went on for about a year. At least once a month, I would end up a weekend in jail. And I was never given bail. I would just see the judge that following the first working day, business day, and I would always be released. But meanwhile, you see how it's racking up? It's racking up. I really am starting to look bad. So I moved to...
Why would you go to jail?
Accusations. He was swearing at me. He comes up here. You want me? I don't, just false accusations. He hit me. I didn't, what? Never any witnesses. That's one thing I will. The Christians wouldn't lie if I hit her. But once I was at my apartment with my son. I had picked him up. We had been home about 2 hours. There was a knock on the door. There were 6 brothers. So, yeah, I didn't know any of them. I'd seen them, but I didn't know them. They were assistant pastors, and she was with them. Of course, all the tears and the boo-hooing and crying and all of that stuff. Yeah, and then the cops show up. I never understood that anyway either. And at this time, that went on for a while and for years. Eventually, I met my wife that I'm married to now, and I think we've been married 27, 28. It's been some years.
Oh, 28, okay.
Oh, yeah, something like that. But we started having children. And I'm paying $1,500 a month for one child, and I don't make that kind of money. They're looking at the gross of the business and not my profit. I wouldn't write the check. My wife wrote that check. Anyway, I had to make a choice. Am I going to let this Jezebel rule my life with my new wife and my family and control this? And she now has a husband, and he won't stand up. He says, Mike, I got to live with her. And I said, I understand.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
it was terrible because they got involved, and it was to the point where the child was so traumatized, my son, that I had to make a choice. And my current wife, this is the biggest argument she and I ever had. I said, I'm paying for his adoption. Walter, you're going to sue me for adoption, and I'm going to hire your lawyer, and I'm paying for everything, and I got to save up for it. So, give me a little bit of time, and that's what I did. My wife, boy, we went round and round. I mean, she has never, ever, at any way, not submitted herself to me this whole marriage. But that one right there, anyway, it went through. We went through. He was 5 years old at this time, and I told him, I'm going to see you again when you're 18. And all those people that stuck their nose in my business all that time and I seen it affecting him emotionally. And I told Walter, his stepdad, bro, you give me your last name, whatever you want to do, you see what I'm doing here, help me out, and I wish I could see some of those men, Christian men that stuck. Can I show you a picture of my son today?
Sure.
They all said that I was the devil and I need not to be in his life. And they all had these terrible things to say about me, just accusations, no proof or evidence. And when my son was 17, I remember I told him I'd seen him when he was 18. I showed up 2 days before he turned 18 with my wife and our 3 children. And we knocked on the door and introduced ourselves. I introduced my wife and unannounced, we just showed up. I apologize for being a little early. I was anxious, I couldn't wait. And those Christians that said they knew best for my child, and this is what he looks like now.
Wow.
Can you get a shot of this, sir?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Do my children look like that, Brother Mike? You know my children. And he came to live with us for 6 months. And he said, had you raised me, my life would not be like this. And he kind of understands, but he's hurt. And if you look here, look at what that says. Look what photo that is. Yeah. Thanks, Christians. Then as time went on, she had a cane, and she kept coming down to this altar call. And then next thing I know, she got a walker, and then she in a wheelchair, and then she died. And she ain't never had to die. They could have told her, we can't heal you. This is all just